Hey guys, it's Ryan here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today this is another episode of the Sword and Sorcery Book Club, and it's going to be kind of a news roundup. It's just a short little video just to remind you guys of some interesting things that I've seen relating to Conan and Conan related stuff in the last couple of weeks, right? So some of this is mostly going to be news that came out of some conventions that were happening in the last couple of weeks. Some of it is going to be some other YouTubers that I follow and stuff that they're showing off, right? So I'll probably leave links down to the channels and the videos down below for each of them. So yeah, that should be it, right? So let's see. In terms of news, at San Diego Comic-Con 2024, we got that Savage Sword was going to be back for another year, which everyone kind of knows at this point, right? If you've been following along with any of the YouTubers that covered Conan, you'll know that this is the case. Still, I wanted to put this in here anyways because I thought it would be meaningful. We also know that James Lovegrove's Blackstone novel, The Cult of the Obsidian Moon, is coming out sometime November, I think. And it is tied to the Blackstone event, but I'm pretty sure it's not like completely required reading, but you might want to pre-order it or whatever if you're interested. I don't think I'll buy it. I still need to get through the original stories of Conan before I get into Pastiche. I have bought a lot of the digital pastiche things that Titan has released already, but I'm not really ready to jump on it more than that, right? So I'll probably wait a while. I also don't like buying hardcover books. I prefer soft covers, so I was gonna wait for that anyway, so I'm not gonna get it, but next year when it comes out in paperback, I will. The RPG Kickstarter is starting in the fall, and actually I think it just started. I think I saw Jim Zub put up a link to it, so I'll leave the link to the Kickstarter down below. And apparently merch is starting to, or will start to come out sometime in October. And I think this was straight from SDCC, and this was relating to, posters and shirts and stuff like that, right? So I don't know, if there's been any update on that, but there is that. So yeah, then Stitch and Dogs put up a recording of the Fan Expo Canada interview between Jim Zub and a comic book seller that is local to Canada and a friend of Jim's, right? So they had this short little panel. It was just him and Jim talking to each other, and then some answers were given to questions from the audience, right? So a lot of that was actually much more interesting than the stuff at San Diego Comic-Con, at least for me, mostly because I already knew most of the stuff from San Diego Comic-Con, but also because I found that the more intimate setting was a lot more similar to Howard Days, and also gave a chance for Jim to talk about some stuff that maybe, would not really come out out of a company sanctioned panel, if that makes sense. Not that I know that's how it works, but it sounds like it would be kind of different, right? So basically, Jim has officially signed on to be part of the Conan relaunch for an extended period. He's not exclusive, and I think that he said it was a 5-year plan. There were supposed to be at least 50 issues of Conan, meaning that there's supposed to be 10 issues per year, but they have, at least so far, managed to do 12 per year, and I think that that's good. They actually managed to do 13 in the first year because of the free comic book day issue, right? So yeah, so 50 issues are guaranteed. There's gonna be at least 4 more years of Jim Zub's Conan. And he also mentioned that he was currently writing or finishing up on writing issue 24. So he's at least a year ahead of schedule, which is pretty awesome. Or at least I think it would not be a year at this point. It'd be like 11 months ahead of time of schedule, right, at this point. So that's really cool. I like that. I think that's great. There's also some other stuff that was mentioned at this panel for the Canadian Fan Expo. I think it was that every year following this one, there will be one crossover event that ties into the larger narrative that they're telling that is going to be similar to the Blackstone, right? So year 1, we didn't have any events because it was the relaunch. Year 2, which is this one, we have the event that ties into year 1. And I'm guessing that means that next year, the event that ties into year 2 will happen around the same time, right, in the latter half of the year. I don't know what next year's could relate to, because so far the arc that's currently going on doesn't really have any overarching mystical stuff, unless it's supposed to be about god characters. That might be interesting. And these side stories are guaranteed to continue for the time that Jim is working with them, right? So that's cool. That's good. I like that. Hopefully the Blackstone happens to be a good event, so that will continue. Yeah, otherwise, that's it for that. In terms of stuff that's not from conventions, but is still kind of like from the source and came from heroic signatures and stuff, there is a new article on the Conan website that explains Cimmerians, right? It goes through some of the stuff that Jeff Shanks talked about in one of his essays recently about where the Cimmerians come from, right? They come from this Cimmerioi group of people. They come from this kind of like Eastern European region. They're also inspired by the gloominess of Fredericksburg, where Robert E. Howard was from, and all of this stuff. And this essay goes into deeper detail. It's written by Lo Terry, I think. I think that's how you say their name. And it's pretty long. It's quite good. I have not read all of it, but it does go through the real world inspirations, the lore explanation for the Cimmerians, and then kind of talks about them in a broader kind of context, right? So I think it's a good read. I recommend you guys read it. I'll leave a link down below. And then there were 2 interviews that I wanted to highlight here that I thought were pretty cool, right? So back in Howard days, I met with Alfredo from Santuario de los Comics. He is a Mexican YouTube creator. He focuses on comic books, and lately it seems like he has had a big focus on Conan stuff. And while we were at Howard days, he got a 20-ish minute interview with Jim Zub. I actually told him, hey, you should make it so that the house of Robert E. Howard is in the background of your video. He thought that was a good idea. He liked that, and I got to sit with his friend Ludwig, who's also my friend at this point. I got to sit with Ludwig and this old timer, this old guy that was a big fan of the Conan stuff, and we got to see him interview Jim live. Right, it was a really cool experience. I really liked it. And he recently, I think within the last month, released that interview. It had taken him a long time to get through with it, but he did finally manage to get it out. The reason it took so long was because he was subtitling it for Spanish-speaking audiences. But you, as someone that speaks English, can watch that interview with minimal problems because it is in English, right? There are some audio issues, so sometimes it's hard to tell what's going on, but you can kind of broadly follow the interview. So I recommend you guys give it a watch. And in that same vein, Manifesto TV did an interview with Jeffrey Shanks. It seems like they did it before Howard days, back in May or June, early June. So it is kind of like a little bit out of date, but it's over 2 hours long. It talks about how Jeffrey got into Robert E. Howard, how he got into Conan, how he ended up doing gigs for Conan licenses and stuff like that. And it's probably speaking a very good interview. I really like it. I think that Manifesto TV manages to do a great job at giving Jeffrey all of the space he needs to talk about what he wants to talk about. And I really appreciate that. I think it's good because you want to hear from the person that's being interviewed. You don't necessarily want to hear everything about the interviewer, right? So I like that. I think he's doing a great job. I'll leave it linked down below, of course. And I think that's basically it. Otherwise, there really isn't too much else to say. I'm still working out the dates that I would prefer to have an interview with Jeff. So I will eventually contact him about it and be like, hey, are you free these days? Whatever the case may be. And then I'll figure it out. Then I'll have it out hopefully by the end of September, before the next issue of the Battle of the Blackstone comes out, right? So yeah, that's all there is. So hope you guys enjoyed this roundup. If you like this sort of video, let me know, and I'll try to do it once every couple months, maybe once a quarter, just to mention other creators that are making content related to this stuff, right? So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys later.